Hi readers, welcome to Novels with Nat. It's the start of a new month, so it's time for a new TBR. So it's the end of May, so I'm of course sitting down to pick out the books that I want to read in June. And it's a beautiful day, so I decided to sit outside. If you can hear people cutting their lawns and doing work outside, I'm sorry. Hopefully this mic will pick up my voice better. So last month I did a video where I spun a color wheel to choose my TBR. I'll link that video down below. It was a lot of fun. I ended up getting, I think, around 10 books that I had chosen to read in the month of May. However, I absolutely failed at sticking to that TBR. I did horribly. I'll insert a picture here of the books that I had chosen. Of these books, I read one, which is The Tenant by Frida McFadden. I did read that one. All of the other ones I did not read. So that is horrible. I'm so disappointed in myself. So when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to read for May, I was thinking like, well, should I just carry this TBR over into next month? But then I was looking at the new releases that are coming out, and there are so many coming out in June. I feel like, I don't know if it's just for the type of books that I am interested in, but all of the new releases come out in June and July, a little bit in August, but we're in like prime new release season. So I think I'm just going to scrap this TBR that I didn't do very well on last month, and I'm going to focus mainly on new releases this month. So this time around, I'm not going to be doing any kind of TBR game. I'm just strictly going to choose my TBR based off of new releases and just let you know what I'm planning to read this month. And then we'll see in the end of June if I actually manage to read many of these or how many I actually get through. It might be a little bit tricky because I don't typically buy my books. I typically will first read them from my public library, and then if I enjoy them, I'll buy them or I'll try to thrift them. So a lot of this video is going to depend on me being able to get these new releases from my library on time. My library is pretty good. I typically can get them pretty quickly after they're released, and I always try to make sure that I get my name on the wait list very early. So I am on the wait list for all of these books at my library, and I'm either on hold for the physical book or the audio. So hopefully one of the two will come in for each of these. So I don't want to make this video too long. I just want to run through the 10 books that I've chosen to prioritize this month. 9 of them are new releases and 1 is a backlist book. So we can start with the backlist book first. In May, I ended up reading The Hunger Games for the first time. I've never read it before. I did film a reading vlog. I'm not sure, I don't think it will be up before this video, but if it is, I'll link it below as well. So in June, I would like to get to Catching Fire. So that's the first book I have on my TBR. In terms of new releases, I have the list that I've created on my computer here, so I'm going to be going through that. I have 9 new releases this month, which is a lot. I usually typically will have like 2 to 3 new releases that I'm anticipating for the month, but this month we have 9. So it's going to be a new release month. So the first book that I have was actually on my TBR last month, but I didn't get it from the library. It's currently in transit, so I should be picking it up very soon. This is actually my most anticipated book of 2025. I'm so excited to get my hands on it, and that is We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. I love Sarah Pinborough. She's one of my favorite authors. The premise of this one just sounds so interesting. I'm so excited for it. It's like a haunted type gothic story of a couple that moves to a house, and of course creepy things start happening. So that will hopefully be the first book that I read in June. I'll also quickly mention I have 2 novellas that are coming out this month that I am intrigued to pick up. The first one is called Death Row by Frida McFadden. I do tend to read the Frida McFadden new releases. I read The Tenant last month, and of course, in typical Frida McFadden fashion, she has another one coming, and this one is just a novella. So it's going to be short. I will pick it up. So that's going to be the next book that I read. The next book I want to read this month, also a novella, is by Sally Hepworth. It is called The Ex-Wives Club. I am excited for this one because I love Sally Hepworth, and I feel like we haven't had a release from her in quite some time. It's been over a year since her last release, Darling Girls, had come out, and so this one is just a novella, but at least it's something, so I'm excited to get to it. I don't think she's announced a full-length book yet, but I will keep my eye out for it. So yeah, I don't remember too much about the premise of this one, but it's a novella called The Ex-Wives Club. So that is on my TBR this month. And then next we have What Happens in the Dark by Kia Abdullah. This one is a courtroom thriller, which I typically don't gravitate towards or don't enjoy unless it's from Kia Abdullah. I have read all of her other books except for one. I think I've read three of them, and I have really enjoyed all of them. She writes courtroom thrillers in a way that it's not boring, it doesn't drag on, and it actually has thrilling aspects, even though it's more of a legal thriller or a legal book. Sorry if you can see my dog in the background, she's roaming around. But yeah, this one I am very excited for. It looks like a bit of a domestic thriller. Yeah, it looks like a bit of a domestic thriller with two best friends. So yeah, I'm going to be getting to this one for sure this month. Okay, and then on June 17th, we're getting another book by Liv Constantine. This is the author duo that wrote The Last Mrs. Parrish, which is one of my favorite thrillers of all time. The premise of this one sounds really interesting. It seems to be about a woman who is having dreams that are telling her that the lives of her daughters are in danger and all kinds of terrible things, and then stuff starts happening in real life that was from her dream. So her dreams are starting to come to reality. I haven't read a book like that I remember. So it's a pretty unique premise. I'm looking for that in thrillers this year. I really want to prioritize reading thrillers that have unique premises that I haven't read a million times before by other authors. So this one I'm definitely excited for. And then we have another S.A. Cosby book. I haven't actually read his most recent release, which was All the Sinners Bleed. I have that one on my physical TBR, but I have read his other three books, and I love his writing. His writing is so good. My favorite of his books is definitely Razorblade Tears, one of my top 10 books of all time. It's such a good book. I will say his books aren't the kind of books that I just kind of passively read or will like throw an audiobook on and do stuff. Like I really want to be sitting down and be present when I'm reading his books. So I have to be, I have to have the time to really dedicate towards it. So maybe on a weekend in June, I'm going to read his next book, King of Ashes. The title sounds really cool. The cover's cool. I'm excited for it. And then in June, we're getting another Lisa Jewell. It's called Don't Let Him In. Um, I have a pretty hit or miss past with Lisa Jewell. I do read her books when they come out, but I don't always love them enough to give like 5 stars. Some of them end up being like 3 stars for me. With Lisa Jewell, I really enjoy her writing, but sometimes I find the stories are just very slow burn, and I do like a slow burn, but they just kind of drag on and on and on. And I feel like they sometimes don't really go anywhere. And so I'm hoping this one isn't like that. I have seen a couple people who have done early reviews and they haven't been too positive. Um, I'm also not super intrigued by the premise of this one. It just seems like very standard basic thriller of like three women whose lives are connected somehow. So I'm not thinking that I'm going to prioritize this one this month. If I have time to get to it, I will, but it's not top of my list. But it's coming out this month, and if I've got the time, I definitely will be reading it. And if I don't read it this month, I will be reading it in the next 2 or 3 months for sure. Okay, and then we've also got Riley Sager's next book coming out. It's called With a Vengeance. For some reason, I feel like Riley Sager always releases in July, but this year, I guess he's releasing in June, which is fine. Um, this one I think is a sort of locked room on a train type story. I think it's also got a little bit of a historical fiction aspect to it. So I am intrigued by the premise. Again, Riley Sager is an author that I always read, but I tend to have a hit or miss opinion of. I like his writing, but sometimes the stories just kind of are absolutely absurd and ridiculous. Um, I loved Lock Every Door, one of my favorite books of all time. But on the other extreme, like, you good? So, Lock Every Door is definitely one of my favorite books of all time. But on the other end of the spectrum, like books like Survive the Night, 1 star. It was horrible. I also didn't like his most recent release, Middle of the Night. That was 2 stars, maybe 2.5. Um, I just found it really just dumb. Like there was no twist, there was no suspense. Um, I didn't like that one at all. So I'm hoping for a better result with this one, but I am excited for it, and hopefully I can get my hands on a copy from the library pretty quickly. I also always do like Riley Sager's covers. Even if I don't like the book, his covers are always really good. So that's a plus. Okay, and the last book that I'm anticipating for this month is called The Compound. I have never heard of this author and I hadn't heard of this book. I just seen one person on BookTube who had said that they were anticipating this book and they ended up reading the premise and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I have to read this book." And I immediately added it to my TBR. I haven't heard anyone else talking about it, but I am so excited to get to it.